So yeah, the first day I arrived to the beach at the King of the Year 2025.
It was absolutely epic. We had super great wind pulling through.
I was super excited. I had a lot of energy and I was ready to compete.
My mindset, I was actually probably the calmest I've ever been going into a competition.
So I got really nervous.
So yeah, when the wind picked up, I just got a little bit too nervous. Yeah, so all the years before I was here being a caddy, so that's of course a little bit different, even though I saw everything from all the people that they were nervous and stuff, but I was like, I got this. I did a lot of comps myself, but then once I was actually in the comp and pumping my kites, I felt the nerves.
So that is the start.
This looks good. Yep, throws back the hammer. Not a lot of height on this one. Wow. Still pretty critical.
Yeah, another critical kite angle on that dirty loop and also kicking off his board.
Yeah, so when I crashed the kite, I had to swim back like 200 meters and then run back the whole box upwind. So I was super tired, and then I got quite stressed and launched my kite super fast, didn't really look at the lines that well. And so when I went out and there was no kicker, I started looking at my lines and everything was tangled. So yeah, I was about to give up, but then Jeremy, Jacopo, my dad, Elliot, they all told me like, yeah, don't give up, you have the time, take it easy. So yeah, that really helped me during that heat. So what I learned from that moment, that even though you're really stressed, for example with time-wise, if you just stay calm and try to make it as good as possible, because for example I had 1 minute and 50 seconds to perform. I managed to perform 3 tricks, but I didn't really get the variety score. So that's why I didn't really went through the heat. But yeah, I just learned that you have to stay calm and everything is possible then if you just keep going. Yeah, I was of course super stoked and proud that I was able to join this event, even though it didn't really went the way I wanted. But yeah, it still made me even more motivated to keep training for all the next events and Redbull King of the Year 2026, of course. I'm gonna prepare myself a bit more on the mental side, because on the tricks and stuff I was there, but yeah, the mental side was a bit off because the event was so much bigger than all the other ones. So yeah, I think I learned a lot from being here for the first time.
Yeah, for sure. What happened to Kimo on the first day is really sad. I mean, it can happen that your kite falls down on the wave and then you cannot continue with your heat. So what I came onto day 2, I was really focused to have all my gear ready in case something happens, like if I lose the board or if my kite drops in the water, that I had my caddy and the team on the beach that could rescue me and get me a new kite as soon as possible to continue the heat and help. Fortunately, it didn't happen, so yeah, it's a thing to take a lesson from and to be ready for all the next comps. For sure, one of the strongest moments in this competition was in round 1 when I was against Lorenzo and Charles, where I was 3rd till the buzzer. Then I saw a kicker and I just went for the kicker because I knew I had to grab the 2nd spot to don't get flagged out in the first heat. And there's where I said it's all or nothing right now to still try to get the 1st place in round 1. Although it didn't work out, I'm still stoked that I made it happen to pull off the trick in those last seconds. Conditions were pretty tough and I really had to adapt to those. I'm really used to riding in strong conditions, so when these conditions come, I have to really change my riding. But still, with the new NXTV2, I was able to pull off some tricks because the kite was catching quite better than the previous one. So I'm still happy that I could pull off something in this comp. The thing that hit me the hardest after the comp was thinking about how much I trained throughout the whole year after my injury, getting back, winning KOTA Y and trying to train as much as possible to this comp, that I actually forgot the essence of what it is being in King of the Year and having fun on the water. So it was one of the hardest things that I had to go through. But I think it's a good thing because at the end I learned from it and I know that kiteboarding is fun and I still have to have fun with it. The Redbull King of the Air is one of the biggest kitesurfing events of the world, and to me it means dedication and passion for the sport.
You cannot just go there and just think.
You want to win like I did, for example. You have to really be in the zone and really know what you're doing and have love for what you're doing. What I learned from it and what I want to bring into it next year is for sure trying to stay more calm before hitting the water and really enjoying the moment that I'm in the heat. I learned that it's useless to stress for it for the whole year to then show up on the day and be stressed again. So just hitting the competition, checking out the conditions and really being loose and natural in the water is one of the things I want to do next year.
Non mi va! Sì, Jack. Back Kailu. Contra, contra! Contra!
Yeah, so in the end, I was the last slingshot rider standing for this event, and you know, it really felt like I had the power of the team with me. You know, at the end of the day, we had all the people on the beach holding my flags, holding my name, and it really felt like the power from the whole team. You know, we're in it all together. So in the end, I felt really stoked, and I had tons of energy and excitement with me from everyone. Yeah, so day 3 rolled around. You know, I was against Colin Van Dijk in my semifinals, and you know, I felt amazing. You know, all the pressure was taken off from being in the past couple of days, and you know, finally facing one of my really good friends. It was super awesome. And you know, the Zack Attack maneuver, even though I got to throw it in day 2, I wanted to throw it again, you know, 2 to make it true. And finally I got to, in the last couple of moments, get it down and throw it. And you know, I thought again it would get me through to the end, but the biggest pressure of all is waiting for that score to finally come out in the end. And you know, I just sat there, head up, you know, believing, but hey, in the end, you know, he took it this year, but for sure push harder for next year.
Open the phone. Okay, wait. Well done, bro. Well done, bro. That's how it goes, baby.
My biggest strategy for this comp, you know, I've been training a ton, my left and right hand, you know, training to, especially back home in Hood River, I was getting ready to go so I could go both ways. And in this comp with the new variety system, it really helped because then, you know, I could go hit the big waves and go the biggest as possible to the left, and then I could train my technical stuff to the right. So that was my biggest strategy of all. And you know, in the end, having a big maneuver is always in the back of my mind. I always want to do it so in every event I can make my mark by doing something that you know, most people won't see, and it's a surprise. So definitely I thought during the event, I didn't know if it was going to be the quad board flip or another trick that would definitely wow everyone, but for sure I had always that last second trick that I have to throw in the buzzer. And mainly during my heats, I always waited, even if I had the chance to do it middle of the heat, I always waited till the last second just to make it a banger and just so everyone won't expect it right at the end. You know, that's the best one, the buzzer beater. I mean, it was incredible, man. Like, that type of trick that I've done, I've only done once in my entire life. The quad board flip is one of the most insane tricks, honestly, in a lot of kiteboarding. You know, it's a trick that most people look at and think it's almost impossible because of the wind and thinking the board will flow away. But finally, you know, when I end, I got it in a huge bear hug. You know, it was like a big teddy bear I caught the handle at first, but I had to slow it down by hitting my body. And finally, when I realized I caught it, it went from me being so focused and everything being silent in the air to the whole beach and everyone exploding, you know, with a crowd and everything. And definitely, I finally, you know, locked in and got the board, and when I realized I got it, I had to come down and land it no matter what. So in the end, yeah, it was an incredible feeling, and definitely something I can't explain. It was amazing. Yeah, so honestly, in my mind, you know, a lot of it was successful. You know, I had many of my heats and doing the big trick and everything. I felt like I did a pretty good performance. But in the end though, you know, I always go hard on myself and make sure that, you know, you gotta always go to the end. The job is never finished. Even though the first 2 days were amazing and everything, you have to go for gold and make sure you strive to the end. And so in my mind, I think there was some stuff that I missed and definitely I need to work harder on. And so, you know, for next year and for these upcoming comps, I want to push even harder to make sure that I exactly make it to the final, make it to the podium. So then I'm not stopping right at the end. Even though I had a big blowout and big upset, you know, with Andrea and stuff, I think that was just part of it. That's just a little bonus. But in the end, you know, you got to finish. So yeah, I think for sure in the future, I'm going to push even harder and get to the top. The Redbull King there is definitely the biggest, most extreme event of all. It's the World Championship in my opinion. Everyone waits all year competing and training to go into this event. And you know, even being part of it is such a big achievement. You know, most people work their entire lives training and getting ready just to make it into the event. And I was super stoked to make it last year, and definitely this year, I wanted to even push even harder so that I can make my mark and make my name so then everyone will see it. And when they look back into the competition and in the kiteboarding world, I want my name to be in the spotlight for it for the year and stuff. And so, you know, that's what I want to do, make my mark. Yes, you know, going in this event and having the whole team here, everyone coming down to support me and everything, you know, it's never a one-man army. You got everyone to support you and everything, and especially throughout, you know, now that we got our new kites coming out with the new school Big Air V2, we definitely want to send it the most and showcase how we want to rise into a new era. And you know, throughout this event and everything, from all the other riders and having the big sportsmanship in our sport, it really shows how kitesurfing is as a community. I loved how every time, you know, after the heats, I could have a good moment. I didn't want to see people, you know, getting mad or hating each other. I liked how, you know, most of the riders, they're either proud of you or you're proud of them. That's how in the end, we want to have a good community and the love. And so I was super happy to have all the support I had, having everyone come up to me and telling me, you can do it, you can get to the end, and having my whole team with me throughout it, especially, you know, showing the flag, showing the name, and having everyone on the beach cheering. That's the biggest part of all, and that shows our team as best as a family.